This solidifies Ripple, Quant, and Hedera. Let's jump into it. This is from Tokenizer, and he brings this up. And if anything, check it out for yourself. Give Tokenizer a follow, by the way, over at Tokenizer, just how it sounds. Oracle's already certified QNT as their solution for unified ledger and singleness of money. A lot of us already know this. But when Fortune 500s and central banks are using the tech, what retail about price doesn't matter, right? On top of this, Oracle revealed an interesting detail. Jesse and I just covered this the other day about the RLN, in fact, RSN, but look at this. The UK, RLN, which Quant played an integral role in, was actually implemented into Oracle's digital asset platform too. Reminder that Oracle is already a preferred enterprise cloud technology solution. And by the way, I've shown numerous examples of Oracle integration literally into the Overledger. Oracle, of course, is a direct partner with Quant. Oracle is a direct partner with JP Morgan. I think it's inevitable that you'll hear about JPM coin, but I can't spill the beans on that. Wish I could. In simple terms, Oracle's makes it quick and easy to integrate enterprise-grade architecture. And as you see from what he wrote up here, Tokenizer, if you combine that with blockchain and enterprise DLT, well, you now see the beginning to become an industry focus. There's a little bit more here. It seems Oracle is making sure they continue offering the full enterprise suite with DLT included. They are not just adding some private DLT support via Hyperledger Fabric, but through Overledger, yes, Quant's Overledger, they are allowing the full experience and product suite to connect with both external DLTs and tech, along with other key Oracle products once regulatory frameworks and standards are fully in place. That's the way I felt for the longest time. And Tokenizer has a feeling that the Quant and Oracle partner could serve as one of the key adoption gateways to enterprise DLT. If anything, that's the plug. All right, so we're going to highlight this. This is so good. I love that Tokenizer took the time to do this for us.
Hey, my friend, if you're a day trader or pro, BTCC Exchange will be a game changer for you. BTCC Exchange is one of the world's most preferred and trusted crypto exchanges for day traders and pros, tailored for high volume futures and scalping. Founded in 2011, it's the longest running platform with 0 hacks, licenses in the US, Canada, EU, and more. It's a dream for traders. Top 5 on CoinMarketCap for derivatives, unmatched liquidity, rock bottom fees, advanced order types like TWAP and iceberg orders, plus API for algo trading. They also have one of the most user-friendly copy and leverage trading platforms in the world. Join over 600,000 traders, compounding daily scalps into explosive returns. If you're not using BTCC for your day trading, you're seriously missing out. Use my BTCC referral link on the screen, in the description, or in the pinned comment, or scan the barcode on the top right of the screen for up to 11,000 USDT rewards, up to 10% bonus on your first deposit via referral link, easy $50 minimum, and 30-day trading to unlock the bonus, up to 50% off fees and VIP perks like priority support. Leverage and copy trading is risky, so only use what you can afford to lose, or seriously don't do it at all. I launched this YouTube channel to share crucial crypto insights, not to see you make reckless moves and lose your hard-earned money. Testimonials are paraphrased for clarity from real BTCC trader reviews. See description for sources. Never keep all your crypto on exchanges. Use reputable hardware wallets. Links below. Now let's get back to the video.
So as we expand it, I will share this and then Jesse's going to chime in. It says here, cross-ledger interoperability unified ledger architecture. It says here, combining Oracle blockchain platform support for XOpen and XA standard with two-phase commit, which is the 2PC, and powerful orchestration provided by Quant Networks Overledger. Again, they even mention them by name, enables cross-ledger operations and workflows required to implement a unified architecture, helping to overcome a blockchain fragmentation and preserve singleness of money. Now, actually, before I get down to this bottom part, I will have Jesse interject on that, because you've been talking about this for the longest time, about the concept of a unified ledger, and even citing the BIS, obviously citing the RLN, Tony McLaughlin, you name it. There's even other terminology, Jesse, that we shared before about a shared unified ledger. But again, this topic of quote, singleness of money, and to see literally Oracle mention Quant by name in regard to this, and Quant playing a role about programmable money, because they are the foundation for building on blockchain, and they're the foundation for digital finance. Again, singleness of money, programmable money. Your thoughts on this, brother?
Yeah, so keep it on a document, actually. Go in the document. I'm so glad you pulled up this document. Okay, so Max, I'm gonna change up this video a bit there. I'm gonna show you a little curveball. So because I've been wanting to show this for a while and I keep forgetting to show this. So again, I've talked about this a lot, right? A lot of people think that the Quant, the unified ledger is Quant, and it's not. And we're gonna prove this right here in this video once and for all. So and I'm going to rant a bit. I'm going to say, again, what I explained in my other video. It's very, very important, okay? So we're going to settle the score right here. So the regulated library network is the XRP ledger, like I said. So the Quant, Gilbert Verdian of Quant said, when he was talking about the regulated library network, he said, we also partnered with R3, who's bringing over the shared ledger. Then Tony McLaughlin said that the shared ledger and the regulated library network were the same thing. And then there's a document saying that the regulated library network used to be called the regulated internet of value. So the first time it was mentioned, I'm giving you the very, very short version, guys. Okay, the first time it was ever mentioned, the regulated liability network, it was called the regulated internet of value in a city document in 2021. But they changed the name to the regulated liability network because everybody knows that the regulated internet of value, or the internet of value, is the XRP ledger. So in my videos, I prove that the regulated liability network, the shared ledger, and the unified ledger and the Finternet, it's all the XRP ledger. So then there's a document, and we're gonna show this first. Okay, so right here it talks about recently demonstrated by simulating a regulated liability network experimentation. And keep in mind, Gilbert Verdian said we also partnered with R3 on the regulated liability network. Oh, sorry, let me rewind. Gilbert Verdian said we provided the programmability, the interoperability, and the custom APIs for the regulated liability network. And then on Twitter, he posted and he said, we provide the programmability and the interoperability for the institutional internet of value. But in a video, he said for the regulated liability network, which I prove used to be called the regulated internet of value. So he calls it the regulated institutional internet of value, the institutional internet of value and the regulated internet of value. But he says we provide the programmability for it. We are not it. We provide the programmability and the interoperability for it and the custom APIs. So it talks about here how, okay, so this was recently demonstrated by simulating a regulated liability network experimentation phase use case, settlement of tokenized bond using delivery versus payments model across 4 isolated partitions. These partitions here, these are ledgers on the XRP ledger, my friend. 2 bank deposit tokens partitions, wholesale CBDC. I've been screaming at people telling, listen, guys, the XRP ledger is the only blockchain that has a private CBDC platform where central banks can launch their CBDCs on it. Okay, from my understanding, it's the only blockchain company that actually has a launch pad for CBDCs and a primary bond market. Okay, implemented on Oracle blockchain platform digital asset edition. So scroll down, my friend, for a minute, and we're going to show a few things here. We might have to do 2 videos on this one, Max. So scroll down a bit more. Wait to the diagram. Sorry, can you make it a tiny bit smaller? The diagram. Zoom out a bit. I think that's all it. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so you see how the external orchestrator, Quant Network, is the external orchestrator, right? It's outside. It's sitting outside. It's an overlay, right? And it's sitting on top of this regulated liability network because it said that the regulated liability network, excuse me, the regulated liability network had literally CBDCs and bond partitions on it and so on. So on top, that's Quant Overledger, okay? And on the bottom here, that's your unified ledger. This is your regulated liability network. And we're going to prove this in a minute. Right here, do you see these bond partitions? Deposit token partition, wholesale CBDC partition. This wholesale CBDC, this WCBDC partition right here, this is the XRP ledger. This is the CBDC because Ripple has the CBDC platform that Ripple has. It's a private version of the public XRP ledger. And sometimes they call it a partition. Okay, so that we don't know it's actually XRP ledger, but this wholesale CBDC partition, this is all the XRP ledger here. These little locks, these time locks that you see in the middle, this right here is literally the XRP ledger. This is the XRP ledger. Could also be Stellar technically, but not Stellar because I don't think Stellar has a wholesale CBDC. But this right here is technically a combination of, let's say, the interledger protocol, the XRP ledger. So where you see bond partition, bank A, bank B, wholesale, this is the XRP ledger. Okay, and Quant is providing the programmability and interoperability and custom APIs for the unified ledger, for the regulated liability network, because this is the regulated liability network. It is the unified ledger, the shared ledger, the XRP ledger, the Finternet, and Quant provides. That's why you see Quant on top, and that's why. So the Oracle blockchain is built technically on the XRP ledger, and they might use Stellar as well because Quant allows you to tap into any blockchain. You can tap into Hedera and Stellar and XRP ledger and so on, and build what are called multi-chain applications. So my friend, we're going to, if you don't mind, let's pull up the document that I shared with you where it literally says that the regulated liability network used to be called the regulated internet of value, and the Bank for International Settlements, when they refer to the regulated liability network, they call it the unified ledger. So let's prove that in this document, if you don't mind. Let's pull that up. All right, you know what, Max? So let's show everything here because this is very, very interesting. So okay, so this is a document. This is called episode. This is coming from I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's about 2 months ago. Tony McLaughlin was talking with Ryan Rugg. I can't remember Ryan Rugg where he's from, but anyway. So right here it says, now if you zoom out, there are 25,000 banks, let's say, in the world. So 25,000 data centers, 25,000 databases, separate islands of data. And shared ledger and blockchain, you've got a common database, essentially. So the question is there a possibility to migrate the traditional banking system? So take the same kinds of institution, take the central banks, the commercial banks, and the fintech, and migrate them onto a shared ledger. Okay, a shared ledger. He didn't say multiple ledgers, but onto a shared ledger. And that's what the RLN, that's what the RLN essentially is. It's the idea of moving away from every institution having its own database to having a shared database. So he's saying so migrating all of these onto a shared ledger, the central banks, commercial banks, and fintechs onto a shared ledger, that's what the regulated liability network essentially is. Now remember, Gilbert Vernon said we partnered with R3 for their shared ledger. Gilbert Vernon also was saying that it's one shared ledger. And we know the partnership between R3 and Ripple, right? So that's another, we won't go down that rabbit hole right now, but that shared ledger is the XRP ledger. So now we're going to move here. Okay, so this is another document. Right here, this is literally, this is a document coming from Deutsche Bank or whatever. I think it's a German central bank. And this is, I couldn't pull up the PDF, unfortunately, because we had to zoom it in and it was too small. So I had to just take a screenshot. So right here, it says, it talks about the regulated liability network. It's a PDF. The whole thing is about the regulated liability network. Describes XRP to the T. But it says, in essence, the regulated liability network is an interoperable network of commercial banks and central bank liabilities. The aim of the infrastructure is to improve national and international payments. Oh, you don't say. By using distributed ledger technology. The concept, okay, the concept of the regulated liability network, the concept originates in the article entitled The Regulated Internet of Value, published by Citigroup 2021. Representatives from various industries came together in 2022 to publish a white paper fleshing out the idea of the regulated liability network. So they're admitting here that it used to be called the regulated internet of value. But everybody knows the internet of value is Ripple. Ripple's been preaching for 7 years now. We are building the internet of value. We're building the internet of value, the internet of value, the internet of value, right? So now, if you look at the other on the right-hand side, on the little circle here in red, you go just above it, it says that the Bank for International Settlements, that's the central banks for all central banks, describes the idea of a common programmable platform on which tokenized forms of money circulate as holding great promise. Instead of RLN, the BIS uses the term unified ledger. So here, I just proved that the regulated liability network, the shared ledger, and the unified ledger are the same thing. And Gilbert Vernon said we also partnered with R3 because they are bringing the shared ledger. So the unified ledger, regulated liability network, and the guys, don't miss this. I'm telling you, you can't even imagine what I'm going to show you. The regulated liability network, the unified ledger, and the shared ledger are all the same thing. I've just proven this here because Tony McLaughlin said the regulated liability network and the shared ledger are the same thing. And then here, they're admitting that the unified ledger and the regulated liability network is the same thing. So they're all the same thing. And Gilbert Vernon said we provide the programmability for the shared ledger. And on a Twitter post, he said we provide the programmability for the institutional internet of value. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Now we're going to listen to, oh my goodness, there's too much stuff I want to show you. So go to the RLN. Max, let's go real quick. Actually, no, sorry. We're going to listen to the speech here on the BIS. So the guy in the BIS, we're going to show a little video here.
Canonical application there would be payment versus delivery, where you pay if and only if the seller of the asset will then deliver the security or whatever the asset might be. So these kind of transactions currently are done separately. So there's a messaging network, and you're familiar with SWIFT, probably. But the settlement is done separately through the bookkeeping operations along the chain of financial intermediaries. But if we have the unified ledger that have both central bank money and commercial bank deposits all on the same platform, we can have all of those transactions take place instantaneously at the same time.
Right. So he's describing how the unified ledger replaces SWIFT. Isn't that interesting? And so and he's saying, if they all reside on commercial liabilities and central bank money on the same platform. All right, so right here is the document coming from the Hyperledger Foundation that I'm always referring to, okay? So you see here, global RTGS, you see the XRP ledger right in the middle. And on the left-hand side at the top, you can see RTGS systems, RTGS. And below are all your central banks. These are your partitions right here. Okay, so I'm going to show you the partitions from when we go back to the Oracle document, talking about the Oracle DLT platform, it's talking about partitions. These are your partitions right here. These central banks ledgers, okay, these are private ledgers built on the XRP ledger. So these are your partitions, likely that they're referring to, and local payments, that would be like your commercial banks or your fintech companies, or local payments on the left-hand side there. Zengin, SEPA, ACH, that's also technically could be partitions, okay? And then it shows how the XRP ledger is the global RTGS, right? It's the RTGS for all the RTGS. So now we're going to leave here, and then we're going to go back to, we're going to show the document real quick. Actually, can you bring up the RLN Quant R3 right here? The other document?
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Right here. All right, so my friends, oh my goodness, don't miss this, guys. Don't miss. I'm going to show you. The top left-hand side, you see core RLN infrastructure, core RLN. And on the first two layers are in green, okay? It says common RLN API, the first layer, common RLN API layer. And on the right-hand side there, if you see the little logo of Quant, that's on the first layer of green. So that first box of green, if you go on the right-hand side, you see Quant. It's telling you how Quant is the common API layer. Because Gilbert Verdian said we provide the programmability, interoperability, and custom APIs. So the first layer in green is Quant. The second layer, common orchestration and programmability layer, is again Quant. And it's saying right underneath, workflow orchestration, including Overledger. And on the right-hand side, you see the little logo, Quant. Underneath that, you see three little arrows that are plugging into the shared ledger, that big green box. Okay, you see that how workflow orchestration, including Overledger. So Overledger is connecting into the shared ledger. And you're seeing how, so it's not the shared ledger, right? But it's the orchestration and programmability layer that connects into the shared ledger. And you see the shared ledger here, and there's your partitions again, my friend. And they're showing the shared ledger, which I just proved was the regulated internal value, and the unified ledger, which I prove is the XRP ledger, right? With the video that we showed you from the BIS. Okay, keep in mind what I just showed you. Here's that shared ledger, the XRP ledger, and it says R3. Remember, Quant said we also partnered with R3 because they are the ones that are bringing over the shared ledger. This proves this right here. The shared ledger has these partitions. It has a wholesale CBDC partition, it has a retail CBDC partition, and it has a TD partition. I can't remember what that stands for. But on top of that, you see API gateway, API gateway, API gateway. You see the API gateways. That's Quant. It's showing you that Quant, using API gateways, is connecting into the shared ledger. Okay, and again, Gilbert Verdian made it very clear they are not the shared ledger because he said we partnered with R3 for the shared ledger. If they were the shared ledger, they wouldn't have to partner with R3 to have access to the shared ledger or to connect into it, right? And then again, on the right-hand side, you see Open Banking API in orange, these big orange boxes. You see API Gateway, again, connecting into other stuff as well. That's Quant, okay? So we're going to go back to this diagram that you showed of the Oracle blockchain, and I'm going to show you exactly what I just showed now. If we can go back to, can you pull that document up, Max? So right there at the bottom, this is exactly what I was explaining. Can you zoom out a tiny bit? Is it possible to zoom out? Or, okay, well, it's fine. Yeah, so perfect. So external orchestration, that's that layer again on top. It's the same thing. You have the external orchestration layer on top. It's the orchestrator, exactly what the other diagram showed you. And then at the bottom, you see this is the shared ledger. I've been telling you, this is the XRP ledger because you have that bond partition, the bank A deposit token partition. You have these four partitions: deposit token partition, bank B, wholesale CBDC partition. It's giving you an example. Okay, this is the shared ledger. This is the XRP ledger right here. And it's pointing and it's saying Oracle Blockchain Platform Digital Asset Edition. They're just calling it the Oracle Blockchain Platform Digital Asset Edition. And it's pointing to all these partitions. This is the XRP ledger. And at the bottom, it gets better, my friend. It gets better. Way at the bottom in tiny letters, it says Figure 2, the unified ledger architecture with Quant Network Overledger. Unified ledger architecture with Quant Networks Overledger. So you have the unified ledger and you have the Overledger. They are not the same. And I will prove this in another way. I won't pull the documents because it's going to be too long. But literally, actually, you know what? No, let me pull the document. Screw this. I'm going to pull a document in case this is the first time people watching my videos, they need to absolutely see this. Okay, so this is a diagram right here of the Finternet. And way at the top, it says architecture diagram for unified ledgers, plural. Unified ledgers, plural. Why? Because again, I said that you can, XRP Ledger has numerous private CBDC platforms. They're carbon copy clones of the public XRP Ledger. They're private ledgers that CBDC are built on that are identical to the XRP ledger, but they connect via the interledger protocol and the XRP ledger. So here you see that the interledger protocol, they call it unified ledger, the unified interledger protocol to show us off. There's only one interledger protocol and it's Ripple that built it. Okay, so you see how the unified ledger 1 on the right hand side is connecting to unified ledger 2 via the interledger protocol. So if the unified ledger was Quant, then why the heck would Quant need the interledger protocol to connect to Quant? Doesn't make sense. Quant is the ultimate interoperability, and Quant doesn't need the interledger protocol to connect to Quant, right? That's the first thing. The second reason unified ledger cannot be Quant is because you see unified ledger 1 and unified ledger 2. You know, there's only one Quant overledger, right? So again, this is further proof. And you see at the top here, the programmability. Quant is providing the programmability, right? That's why you always see programmability on the top layer anytime you see the unified ledger, shared ledger, or these partitions, because Quant is bringing in the programmability into the unified ledger, the shared ledger, and so on. So anyways, I mean that, I think, let me zoom out to see. I think that's it. That's what I want to show you. So that partition of Oracle, this whole explanation, just to show you that the Oracle blockchain is literally the XRP ledger. Again, but Oracle is going to use multiple other blockchains as well, right? Quant, because again, Oracle is using Quant for to allow them to build multi-chain applications. So they're able to pick the best features of each blockchain and build what are called multi-chain applications, MDApps. But when it comes to the tokenization, or let's say the settlement and wholesale CBDCs, the main one is the XRP ledger. So wow, that was a long rant. We'll probably have to do 2 videos, but I had to show this because everybody on Twitter is screaming, look, 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 that's all quant. It's not all quant. It's quant and the XRP ledger, the shared ledger, the regulated library network. I showed you the partitions throughout, and I proved to you in this presentation that it's all the XRP ledger. Remember what keep in mind, guys, what I showed you about the BIS, the video of the BIS and how the document shows that the regulated library network, regulated settlement network, regulated internet value, unified ledger is all the same thing.
We're going to jump into this. This is from Tokenizer. Let's pull this up. And basically, this is good. So for one, he points out some key things here. And this is recent. He points out over the past few months, HBAR has become an institutional favorite in tokenized collateral. July 2025, Lloyd's and ABRDN collateral trade on Hedera. Just a couple months ago, September, Archax launches pool tokens basically on Hedera. This month, 2025, Hedera used in UK times EU collateral pilot. We know about European Union, I should say European Union, but the ECB, as in the European Central Bank, doing what? The digital euro, and they teamed up with both Quant, Hedera, and Ripple. So that's important. And again, November 22nd, 2025 is the mandate for ISO 222. The institutional interest is clear as day. Now, this visual won't be clear as day, but it is what it is. This is taken from Tokenizer's cell phone. And as you see here specifically, you see September 2025, Archax and Hedera enable on-chain portfolio creation with launch of pool tokens. Again, I wanted to point out some of this. And then the reason why I'm pointing this out is because, even though it's not clear, sandbox architecture, and you do see here Hedera being highlighted are some of the other key ones, and also Fnality. Now, the reason why I want to show you the thing about Fnality is because, again, not that long ago, whether it's for myself, Channing, and so on the 23rd of October, just a few days ago, Quant Network came out with the announcement, the road to digitalization, while the UK capital markets are at a make-or-break moment. And you do see collaboration that Gilbert Verdian highlighted for BlackRock and, of course, capital markets take twice. And here's what's important. They had a panel, and basically speaking, it was collaborations, representatives from LSEG, BlackRock, and you see Fnality. And this part, digitalization of capital markets isn't just incremental improvement, it's a fundamental reimagining of how value moves through our financial system. So again, this pounds home what Jesse was talking about when he showed you those examples of Ripple with XRP and the internet of value. So I thought that was great that he went into more detail about that. That is very, very big. And again, I want to point this out. This is why you saw it in the thumbnail. Look what it says here. The holy grail remains tokenization, and the business case is compelling. Tokenization is essentially securitization on steroids. We are at an inflection point where new asset forms are becoming accessible digitally, creating new opportunities for investment in PLCs and other instruments. Just as fintech transformed retail banking, wholesale markets are now ripe for similar disruption. So these are very, very awesome disruptive technologies is the bottom line of why we're sharing some of this. And again, back to even Hedera, because according to Tokenizer, HBAR times UK is getting serious. Again, Lloyd's times Aberdeen tokenized collateral, UK CAA contract with Neuron, Bank of England DLT challenge, UK times EU tokenized MMF trials. All of this has happened in 2025 alone, perfectly aligned time-wise with UK frameworks for real DLT utility. Just a tad bit more before I kick it back over to Jesse. The ties between QNT and HBAR have been building for years now. I covered this in numerous deep dives and also collaborations with Channing over the last few years now. While no official partnership, the ties are definitely evident from government entities like the UK or Government UK and Monetary Authority of Singapore to private sector giants like IBM, Accenture, and Lloyd's. And again, getting deep with the connections. We've already done these connections. Again, IBM, Hedera, IBM DICE on Hedera, plus the governing council. Quant IBM helped build out SATP white paper. And don't forget, the IBM also has a patent involving both an API gateway set up like SATP and crypto consensus service, likely HCS. I pointed this out numerous times. Paolo Tasca is literally your top bridge as far as a person goes to both Hedera and Quant, because what? He was over at Hedera as co-chair of HBAR Treasury until December 2024. And also, he was the initial co-founder along with Gilbert Verdian, plus current TC 307 committee. And there's numerous examples here that's very, very important to point out. But I do want to point out the cherry on top from Tokenizer. There is no coincidence that both Quant and Hedera were 2 of 4 DLTs listed at Discover members at Sibos. And as we've seen, it goes much deeper than just the financial sector. Also goes in tech giants, consultancy leaders, government entities, standards. It's all in alignment. And I do love this mind map, so I do want to share this with you for just a brief moment. I've shared this before with Channing. I want to share it again with Jesse. This is so good. And again, the mind map, because again, sometimes you just need to see it for yourself. Everything we just talked about, this is very, very interesting to see this. And again, I pointed out numerous times the whole thing of Palo Tesca. Now, before we kick it again over to Jesse, I want to pound this home again. The ISO 222 maxis that write off QNT baffle me, is baffled Tokenizer, baffles everybody. Quant's the only DLT network where the founders also founded an ISO standard. The ISO standards, the standard for all of blockchain DLT, titled ISO TC307. By the way, that's Quant's standard. TC307 has a direct working liaison with the founders of ISO 222, which is ISO TC68, ISO standard for all financial services. He didn't mention it, but ISO TC307 is a liaison of TC68. And when we think of TC307 plus TC68, that's basically saying universal blockchain and financial services standards. And I'm going to blow this up and finally kick it over to Jesse, because as we see here, it's again the solutions. And if anything, I'll blow it up on the right side. This is so crucial. Interoperable by design, QuantNet removes the barriers created by disconnected systems and siloed ledgers. Its patented ISO 222 native architecture allows money and digital assets to flow seamlessly across networks, markets, and participants. That means institutions can finally automate end-to-end processes without costly reconciliation or middleware. At one point, I think you even mentioned middleware. So that is going to wrap it up. But I do want to get Jesse's closing thoughts on this, because we went over quite a bit here, Jesse, to say the least. And if anything, I want to get your last 2 cents on the topic. Take it away.
Yeah, I know I went on a little rant there, but yeah, so Hedera is absolutely massive. And I saw Gilbert Verdian sitting on stage, one of the head guys of Hedera. They're talking about these ridiculous use cases, just massive. And so that's why I see, when we're seeing Hedera and the shared ledger DLT and all these, what I explain as Ripple, in my, not in my opinion, that's what it is, unified ledger. But I see Quant as, because it's an overlay, like I said, because with Quant, that's why Gilbert Verdian created Quant in the first place, right? He said it on the ICO. When they did the ICO, they said, we created Quant so that you're not siloed into one blockchain. Why not pick the best features of each blockchain and build an MDApp? So the reason he built Quant, so that people can use the best features of each blockchain and build what is called a multi-chain application. So they're going to use Hedera for some stuff, and then in the application they'll use, the unified ledger maybe for this and that, and then maybe they'll use a bit of Ethereum, and maybe they'll use, a bit of Stellar or whatever. But you're picking the best features of each blockchain, or the features that you prefer, and you build what is called a multi-chain application, an MDApp. And also, like I said, Quant allows all the legacy systems and everything that exists to connect into blockchain. And so, like, Hedera is just absolutely massive, and the partnership with Quant is absolutely insane. And then you talked about the TC307, the ISO the TC307 is literally the biggest standard. It's the blockchain and interoperability standard. It's the interoperability standard for blockchain. It's Gilbert Verdian, I think, started it in 2015 or 2016, before the world even knew that we needed interoperability, let alone standardizing it at an international level. I mean, the guy is such a goat, right? And you see Hedera on there, and you see IBM and all these yeah, I mean, he literally created the global international standard for blockchain interoperability, which literally touches every aspect of interoperability. So, like, everything. I would encourage people to look into the TC307. But Tokenizer, phenomenal researcher, my goodness. And yeah, man, like, again, he created the international standard for blockchain interoperability before people even knew that we needed interoperability, this type of interoperability. Plus, let alone, nobody knew that we needed to standardize it at an international level. So that's all I will add without making the video 40 hours. Yeah, it's big, man.
Well, thanks again for your insights as usual, Jesse. I know you're very passionate about what you do, and I think a lot of people really do appreciate that. So
thank you, Max.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the code phrase of the day. It's an abbreviation, so it's just going to be SUL, which is Shared Unified Ledger. And it lets us know that you listen to the entire outline. So on behalf of myself and Jesse over at Apex Crypto Insights, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. And there's a button for both channels where if you're watching from Jesse's channel, you can subscribe to me and vice versa. So thanks again, everybody. Won't keep you any bit further. May the Lord Jesus bless you all. We truly mean that. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.